On November 17th, 2018, we have 2 awards actually, but I'm going to read the Sergeant Teague is also receiving a life-saving award. I started off with that one, but let's move on with the first. On August 7, 2018, Sergeant Donald Teague was supervisory sergeant accompanying and supervising deputies on a warrant service at a residence in western Monroe County, Indiana. The subject with an outstanding drug warrant, was suspected to be at the same residence as the person who was the target of a separate warrant. Sergeant Teague led Deputy DeAndre Moxley, a deputy under his supervision as field training officer, and other deputies through a hilly wooded area to cover the rear of the residence. A recent rain had made the terrain slick and muddy. Deputies took position behind concealment and cover of trees, observing the rear of the residence that had an open lawn separating the wood line from the residence. As deputies made an announcement at the front of the residence, the suspect with the warrant fled out the back door of the residence with a pistol in his hand. He was ordered to stop several times, however, chose to point his firearm at deputies. Sergeant Teague and Deputy Moxley shot the subject. When the subject was motionless on the ground and not responding to orders to disarm, a determination was made that his injuries might be too serious for him to comply. While unsure of what type of response might come from within the residence, from unknown persons who might have witnessed what just took place, Sergeant Teague and DeAndre Moxley left the cover of woods to disarm the man and examine any wounds. They offered words of encouragement and examined and took inventory of the man's wounds. He was bleeding and breathing, but not responding to questions or statements made by deputies. During this event, Sergeant Teague demonstrated great composure in addition to addressing a hostile threat toward himself and other deputies' safety. He maintained his role as supervisor to all deputies present, as well as the special relationship as field training officer with Deputy Moxley. He provided directions to deputies, reminded them to maintain safe cover. At a certain point, Sergeant Teague realized that in order for this man to receive any medical care, they would have to move him away from the scene, which still had persons within the residence not complying to orders to open the door. He announced the decision to take the subject to an area where he could receive treatment, also realizing that he would have to once again cross a portion of the open lawn and expose himself to potential harm. Sergeant Teague made the decision to place himself at risk to give this subject an opportunity for medical treatment. Sergeant Teague hoisted the subject over his shoulders, directed deputies to provide cover and cross the open area of the lawn before again entering the woods, carrying the subject over the muddy and hilly terrain, and was able to carry the subject about 100 yards to a county road. I'll note that he didn't stop one time to take a breath. As a result of his dedication and to his physical health, he was able to accomplish the task without stopping or putting the subject down on the ground. Once the subject was placed in an area where medical aid could be made available, Sergeant Teague maintained his role as field training officer and supervisory sergeant throughout the rest of the day with great composure. It is with humble appreciation and gratitude that Sergeant Donald Teague is recognized as Monroe County Sheriff's Office first deputy to receive the Medal of Valor. Stay right there, please. We'll get this.